Will I be able to hold in my feelings? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we're here with my blind reaction to Love Lies Bleeding. This is not a donation reward. This is a movie I have decided to do just on my own, because last week we did 5 movies for the Zatoichi film series that were, all donation rewards for Venom. So I kind of wanted this week after that to just be a couple things that I just want to see. You know? Some things that that were kind of just on my list of things to see that haven't been donated for. And yeah, this was one of them. So I know nothing about what this is. I know that might seem wild to say. It's like, wait, this is on your list of movies to see, but you don't know anything about it? Yeah. So why is this on my list? Is it because of the name? No. Love Lies Bleeding doesn't really tell me much. It's possibly a love story, I guess. I don't know. Is it because of cast members in this? No. I don't know who's in this. So it's not that. I have no idea what actors may or may not be in this film. Okay. Is it a studio or director thing? No. No idea who made this movie. No idea who directed it. Who wrote it. None of that. So, what the fuck is this doing on my list? Right? Well, I saw a screenshot from this movie. A single screenshot. And it said right on it what the movie it was from was. So that's how I knew. And I saw the screenshot and I'm like, I need to watch that movie. I don't know what it's about. I don't know who's in it. And I don't want to. I need to watch that movie. And I think, and when I thought about it, I thought like, you know, this could make for a fun reaction. Going into a movie completely blind, and not knowing what I'm getting into, but wanting to see it based off of that one screenshot. And I'm going to build up the suspense for you. I'm not telling you what that screenshot was. I am not going to tell you what the screenshot that I saw was. I will let you know what it was once that appears in the film. But I am not going to tell you what it is prior. But it was that single screenshot that made me want to see this movie. And hell, for all I know, this movie might not even be that good. This movie might not even be good. I might not enjoy it. I'm watching it because of literally a screenshot. It's not even the equivalent of like checking out an anime because the opening is good. It's less than that. It's checking out an anime because the main character design looks interesting, basically. It's like you see one thing from the anime and it's like, I gotta check out the anime. It's like, what? What kind of logic is that? I acknowledge that this is a stupid reason to check something out and to be wanting to see something. But I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So yeah. This is going to be just interesting, I'm sure. Might be good, might be bad, might be somewhere in between. I don't know. Like I said, I know nothing about it. The title doesn't tell me too much either, because Love Lies Bleeding, it's like, okay, probably a love story. That's really it. Maybe it has a tragic end with a title like that. But, I mean, that could just easily be a misnomer based on, let's just name it after, like, a phrase of some sort. I don't know. You get what I'm trying to say, I'm sure. I hope. Please understand me. But yeah. So I'm excited to see what this movie is, and hopefully it blows the no expectations I have out of the water. Because if it doesn't, damn. Let me cut in here real quick to remind you that we have a lot of awesome content on the channel. A plethora of series reactions every Monday through Friday, with 2 on Friday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday, as well as a few Let's Plays on the channel. We alternate days between Horizon Forbidden West and Baldur's Gate 3, and Anno Mutationum is on Saturdays. Please go to the description below and follow the link to this video's reaction. It is redirected for copyright. And don't forget to like and subscribe for all future content on Princess of Gay. Thank you so much. See you all at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I wanted to look up Jackie's actress, Katie O'Brien, because I wanted to see what else she's been in. Apparently she was in The Mandalorian, which I haven't seen. She's in the CW superhero series Black Lightning, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which I also haven't seen, by the way. She is not only an actress, but she is a martial artist, so yeah, she is that fit. And she is queer as well, by the way. So, like, both her and Kristen Stewart being queer adds a layer of authenticity to this movie, too. She is with her partner, she married her partner, Kylie Chi, in July of 2020. And apparently, she has Crohn's disease, interestingly enough, and underwent bowel surgery after shooting this film. So that's really interesting. I hope she's doing really well. I don't know too much about all of that, but yeah. She was also in Twisters, which I've seen the original Twister movie. Have not seen the new one that just came out. Apparently she was in an episode of Westworld. 2 episodes of The Walking Dead. So she's been in a number of things. She hasn't been in like a huge amount, but still. But yeah. So this movie is absolutely unhinged. This film gets more convoluted as it goes along. It gets more insane as it goes along. And in true A24 fashion, it ends on such a ridiculous note and goes to such a ridiculous point that it's comical. The steroid use causing Jackie to She-Hulk out and turn into a giant is... There's absolutely no precedent for that in real life or in the rest of this film. It's out of nowhere. It makes no sense. But that's clearly the point. It's supposed to be ridiculous. And it's only one of 2 moments in this that I feel like were really, like, ungrounded from reality. The other moment being the body horror scene that just, again, felt completely out of place with everything else. And mind you, that was like a dream or whatnot, but still. It's like just a super random body horror scene in the middle there. And it's just like, Jesus. But most of the movie otherwise is grounded in reality with this girl, this gym manager whose father is, a career criminal and everything, and Jackie being brought into it unwillingly. It's it's an intense movie, and in more than one way. Like, it's intense in terms of aggression, violence, tension, and fear. It's aggressive in terms of its sexuality. There's a heavy amount of sexuality, especially in the first half of this film. It's aggressive in terms of its emotional turmoil that the characters are going through. And all of this is really well executed, to the point where it's like you're just like fully immersed in in these characters' story. And even as like they have their troubles and split up for a good portion of the film there, it's like they're going to get back together, and things are going to work out. You're just worried about what's going to happen to lead to that. And it leads to some crazy shit, that's for sure. And it's like, then there's some characters who like start off like really nice and everything, you feel bad for them, and then they end up like, by the end it's like you still feel bad for them, but you're not as like gung-ho on the idea that they're, oh, these just these nice victims and everything. Beth, for example, it's like, yeah, she's got some issues. It's more than just she's like a victim of Stockholm syndrome and everything, who has been dealing with an abusive husband up until his death, and was even hospitalized due to really severe injuries. But like, even on top of that, like, her aggression towards Lou at the end there, after she had found out what happened, and her like accusatory response saying like, oh, you don't know love and everything. It's just like, this girl clearly, it's more than just Stockholm syndrome at this point, I feel. She clearly has some issues, and is, she needs help. A lot of help. Mind you, I mean, that's probably due to their father's upbringing of them. I almost said uprising. Upbringing of them. Which, fucked both of them up in very different ways, it seems. And speaking of, by the way, him, like, affirming that the mother ran away at the end and everything, and denying that he killed her, it's like, I don't believe him. If the intent of the film is to tell us as viewers that, yeah, she did actually just leave, she did actually run away, I don't believe it. I think he was making excuses. I think he did kill her, and that was just an excuse to try and, make Lou vulnerable in the moment. It came across as very untrustworthy, as just, you couldn't believe a thing he was saying. And considering like how clearly horrifically disgusting and scummy he was throughout the film, it's like, yeah, you can't really just trust him in any way, shape, or form. So yeah. As I was saying in the pre-thoughts, though, there is the one image that made me want to see this movie in the first place. And that was the image of Jackie, of Katie O'Brien, flexing her muscles, her biceps specifically, towards, Lou. That was I'd seen that one screenshot of her flexing her biceps and everything. And I've made it very clear on this channel plenty of times how very into muscular women I am. Not necessarily like the ridiculously over-muscled, like in a lot of bodybuilding competitions, where it's just like it's gone a little far, you know what I mean? But like her level is fine. Her level is perfectly reasonable, and um is very much what like I see like Korra from The Legend of Korra, or even Yang from Ruby to be in terms of musculature. Maybe even Nora too from Ruby. Though Yang, I think is maybe a little like broader, I guess you could say. So maybe more Nora. But I definitely see characters like that having this musculature out, like if they were drawn like outside of just the general style of their shows and allowed to be shown more actively muscular. Because let's be honest, a lot of animation out there, even when a character, and this goes not just for like cartoons, it goes for anime, it goes for video game animation as well. A lot of the time, unless like there's a specific style that really like almost requires it, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you're not going to see a lot of these characters be as muscular as they naturally would be based on, their character. One example, Aloy in the Horizon games should be more muscular than she appears to be. And don't get me wrong, she has musculature. Like when you wear certain outfits, you can see she has abs. She definitely has muscles on her arms, but she's definitely not as muscular as she should be based on the fact that she's like constantly doing all of this notable exercise, climbing mountains and shit, stuff like that. She should be more muscular than she is. Um, Yang and Nora are both characters in Ruby who should be shown as more muscular because of like the characters are very fit, very into like that kind of thing, strength training. Um, Yang is a very physical fighter, unlike some of the other characters who fight more with weapons. Her weapons, Ember Celica, are gauntlets. She fist fights. She doesn't like swing around a sword or a scythe or anything. So her combat style requires her to be more fit than say Ruby or Weiss or Blake. And then you have Nora, who just is canonically like who canonically strength trains and shit. Like this is a girl who very blatantly called this out in volume 7, I think it is. I think it's volume 7. Yeah, it would have to be. It would have to be volume 7. But she like talks about like teaming up with Elm Adern from the oh my god, the security force working under Ironwood. I can't remember their name right now. The Ace Ops, that's what it was. I knew in my head they were based on Aesop's fables, but I just couldn't place exactly what their names were. The Ace Ops. But yeah, she was talking to like Elm from the Aesops, and she's like talking about them working together and that they could be like called Thunder Thighs. And it's like, you know what you're doing. But yeah, it's like, and then Korra obviously like should have been like she had notable musculature. But let's be honest, Korra should have been a little more muscular than she was. But the art style like kind of cut back on that a little bit because of the style. That's just unfortunately how it ends up being a lot of the time. And so it's like, getting back to the point, Jackie's character in here and her musculature, Kitty O'Brien's musculature, is kind of what I imagine to like characters like that to be, and that's and if you know, like Yang, Nora, Korra are like kind of peak waifus for me. So it's like making this comparison, it just kind of goes to show you how like very attractive I found her. So that one screenshot I saw, it wasn't even a GIF or anything. It was just a screenshot. It's just like I had to see this movie because of that. And oh my god, I was not disappointed. I my toes were curling a bit, to put it simply. Yeah, I was, I was pretty damn horny watching a lot of that. And it wasn't even the sex scenes, though the sex scenes were pretty nice. It was the muscle posing and shit. Like especially the like scenes where like they're in the house and everything, the apartment, whatever it is. And like she's posing for Lou and all. It's like those were like the those were good. Those were really good. Um yeah, it's almost kind of weird, like full on hypersexual sex scenes. It's like, oh, I'm turned on, but not too much. Um, a hot buff girl flexing, and it's just like, oh lordy, sweating, toes curling, just getting very turned on. What can I say? I have my interests. Let me be into what I'm into. Um, but in all seriousness, like outside of that and everything, I fucking adored this movie. like like outside of like the sexiness, outside of like the violence and even like stuff like representation being in here, and doing that really well and just showing a nice wholesome relationship that gets fucked up by outside sources such as parentage and whatnot. um I just everything about this movie like really hooked me in. It really just immersed me. And it's like it's one of those movies that just works on pretty much every single level for me. And not only does every single level that they go with in it, not only does it work, but it works to the peak of its ability. The writing is not just good and entertaining, it's like peak writing. The character work, the acting, the soundtrack, the direction, everything is like peak. I'm This might sound insane, but I'm actually like I have to think about this. This one's not as like instantaneous for me to think to say as others have been, but I think I might consider this perfect. I think this might be a new perfect film for me. The thing is, unlike some other movies I've reacted to, like I just said, this one wasn't like it isn't an instantaneous like, oh, this movie is absolutely perfect. I do have to think about this one a little bit. Um, Maybe if I can find another person's reaction or a review or something on YouTube. Um, or maybe I just need to take some time and think to just meditate on it, basically. Um, but I feel like this, like I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything off my head that I disliked about this film. Everything about this film was, again, just exactly right for me. Everything worked and worked exceptionally well. It was so well handled, so well executed, and was just entirely my shit. Like, it's just so blatantly, obviously my kind of film. It's like, it's super gay. It has hot sex scenes. It has a hot buff lady who is really fucking pretty. Like, even outside of the muscles, like, she's just really pretty. Like, my God. Has Kristen Stewart, who is also super pretty and hot, and I would definitely never say no to her. It has amazing music, direction, again, all of that. Everything. I can't think of a single issue with this film. But unlike others, this is one I definitely need a little more time before I can say for absolute certain. but I genuinely believe it more than likely is. And this is a movie I went into knowing nothing about. Nothing. Like I said in the pre-thoughts, I didn't know who was in this movie. I didn't even know it was A24. I didn't know anything about the plot. I didn't know anything except there's a hot buff girl. Because that one screenshot is all I knew, plus the title of the film, of course. So I'm going into this like blind as a bat, and to have this kind of reaction coming out of it is just always a great feeling. It's like it's like I just feel on top of the world whenever I come out of a movie finding it to be this good, or even close to this good. To not find a single problem with it, to see this as perfect, especially with not knowing anything, is just like this insane high to me. Because this is the shit I look for. Like, you have to understand, whenever I get a movie reward, or choose a movie to watch on my own time, like in theaters or something, or even if I choose to watch a movie of my own choice here on the channel, no matter which of those it happens to be, whenever I go into one of these movies, I'm hoping for this kind of reaction. Mind you, whether I know shit about it ahead of time or not. But especially if I'm going in as blind as possible. I'm hoping to come out of it this fucking excited. This goddamn hyped over it. This is what I want not even just movies, shows, games, everything I experience. I want to give this kind of feeling to me. This kind of just insane, intense levels of hype and excitement. That's what I want. That's what I look for. And I know not every movie, show, game, etc. is going to give me that. I don't expect every single one to do so. But it's just like, when it does, it is just the greatest feeling. And again, when I saw this was A24 at the beginning, I was expecting crazy shit. I mean, I wasn't necessarily expecting the She-Hulk thing or the body horror, but, you know, it didn't surprise me, per se, because it's A24. It just caught me a little off guard just because that wasn't the exact thing I was expecting. Especially by the end, when the 99% of the movie has been rooted in reality. It's like, oh, suddenly She-Hulk transformation. It's just like, ooh, what? But also, giant lady. Listen. Let me be horny. I really loved this. Like, I was not expecting this today. I was not expecting to be like this ecstatic over this. It's like, it's just like a huge shot of just pure enjoyment. All those happy chemicals going to my brain all at once in the most purest of form. And it did have a happy ending. Sort of. Kind of. Depends on what you define as happy. I mean, it was happy for our main girls, and that's the important part. Wasn't quite as like overly joyous happy as like that one Black Mirror episode, San Junipero. Like, the ending of that, like, I bawled when I first saw that. I was a mess. And honestly, it makes me cry every time I see it or even think about it. But it's just like, this wasn't quite on that level in terms of the ending. But that's just the ending I'm talking about. And the ending we had here was still phenomenal. So I'm not complaining about the ending we had. I'm just saying, like, the ending of San Junipero was just more, like, intensely happy. This ending had a little bit of a bittersweet touch to it. So yeah, it's just not as intensely overjoyous. Um, I didn't really talk about what is the one character's name. There's the one character I haven't really talked about. I still have the page up. So Daisy. I haven't really talked about Daisy much, like outside of mentioning her death at the end and everything, or not being dead at first. Um, because I've talked about the other characters. I really like the other characters. Lou is great. Jackie is great. Like, I love both of them so goddamn much. Fuck her father, Lou's father. Obviously. I talked about Beth's turn in the end and everything. JJ, I have said plenty about during the reaction about how much of a skis ball he was. But I didn't really say a lot about Daisy, I feel, during the reaction or these afterthoughts so far. So I just want to say right here, Daisy creeps me out. Like, Daisy is very clearly this way too overly obsessed love interest character, where it's like, she's not the love interest for Lou, but she thinks Lou is the love interest for her. She is so obnoxiously obsessed with Lou. And it's like, I mean, I get it. It's Kristen Stewart. But, girl, you are creepy. And not the same kind of creepy as Lou's father, but creepy in a whole different way. Like, this girl would very much murder for a chance to bone Lou. She is that obsessed with her. And she wouldn't even hesitate. Like, she wouldn't even, like, hesitate for a second. If Lou said to her, "You kill my father and I'll fuck your brains out," she would absolutely do it. She'd probably also die trying to do it, but she would go for it without a second's hesitation. She would be out that door before the sentence even finished. Because she's that obsessed. It's a very unhealthy, very intense, very gross sexual obsession with her. And people like this exist who are, like, so obsessed with a person that they end up being really creepy and really get in the way in a lot of cases, start a lot of problems. And they can get very, like, violent and aggressive if the one they're pining after ends up, like, starting a relationship with someone else, which we do kind of see a bit of in here. Yeah, Daisy, she weirded me out, and I that's very clearly the point. But now one thing, the last thing I kind of want to touch on here is, I don't know if there was specific themes that the creators of this, the writers, the directors, all that, were trying to get across. Like, I like, you see a lot of movies and it's like, oh, this will have a certain theming, even if it's not a direct parallel. It's like, this is kind of what it's trying to tell you. I saw The TV Glow, another A24 film we just reacted to recently, like a couple weeks ago. That movie had a lot of theming. And even though, like, the movie wasn't, like, directly, like, straight, like, it wasn't directly, like, in your face about its, like, trans allegory, But if you actually like watch the movie and like take in what's being said and done and everything, you'll see it for sure, which I did. Um, but with this, it's like it's not as in your face about like allegories or messages or themes or whatnot. And I'm not saying there aren't some in here. There more than likely are, especially in terms of queer relationships and the people around you in that regard. But I don't fully know what they are, and unfortunately, the Wikipedia page does not talk about like that kind of stuff for this movie. But yeah, it's like even without being able to tell that, it's like it doesn't affect my view on the movie otherwise, because it doesn't really affect the film's quality to me in terms of again writing, directing, acting, all of that. It's like all of that is still pretty much the same, no matter like what you're thinking about that regard of things. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I hope you know what I mean. But yeah, even without being able to figure out any specific themes or messages, I I, I think that everything is just done so exceptionally in this. Like this movie is just easily one of my favorites I've seen recently. Again, I'm gonna have to think about it a little bit to figure out like exact placement of things I've seen recently, as well as if I truly do consider it perfect. Because on some thoughts and some reflection, I might have some different thoughts on it. I might realize something, or I might think about something that maybe doesn't work as well as I initially thought on my first viewing. I don't know. I'm going to give it some thought. I obviously won't have any updates here, but maybe I'll say something vague about it in the flavor text in the description below. Um, Here on the redirect, obviously. Maybe what I will have said in there will be like a kind of hint toward that. Obviously, by the time you've watched the reaction and everything, you'll have already seen the flavor text, so you'll probably know what I'm talking about already because you'll have to go to the description below just to get to the reaction. Um, but yeah, I fucking loved this movie. I fucking adored it. It's just like all of my yes. All of my yes. Also, this is a movie from this year, by the way. Um, Let me see here. When exactly did this come out? Okay, this premiered back in January at Sundance. It released here in the US on March 8th. And da, 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 da. Hold on a second. Trying to find the streaming date. Okay, it became available to rent or purchase on digital platforms on April 26th. So, like, just under 2 months after it came to theaters. Which, for a movie like this, I'm not really entirely surprised by or anything. It's not like a huge name movie or anything. So, it makes sense that it would come about that time frame to digital and all. But then again, there's a lot of bigger movies that are also coming to digital pretty quickly, so who knows? With how things are nowadays, who knows? But either way, tell me your thoughts on this movie down in the comments below. And before we close this out, I do want to remind you all real quick that we have a lot of great content to check out on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions. And on Monday specifically, we also have YouTube or YouTube adjacent reactions. Pretty much anything that doesn't quite fit into a normal series or movie reaction, yeah, it goes in this slot. We also do have movie reactions, just like this one you're seeing now, every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, though, and upload them on the weekend. It just makes it easier for me and allows every day of the week to have some sort of reaction content going on for it. We also have a couple Let's Plays on the channel currently. We're playing through Horizon Forbidden West every other day. Well, I'm pre-recording it, but I'm posting it every other day. So you'll have seen a part of it go up yesterday on Friday. You'll see a part on Sunday, and then Tuesday and Thursday, and so on and so forth, every other day. Poppy Playtime is also on Saturdays. At least it was until now. You will have already seen the final part of that come up by the time you're seeing this, I'm sure. Also, it is going to be replaced by the return of Anno Mutationum. We started that before, and we're coming back to it after just taking a little break. Anno Mutationum and Poppy Playtime are both donation reward Let's Plays. Anno Mutationum is a reward for Matthew Vasquez. Poppy Playtime is a reward for Venom. And if you want to know how to donate for a future PS5 Let's Play, go to the channel search, and all in one search, type in June Double Reward Month PS5. That should take you to the correct video. That'll let you know everything you need to in regards to how to donate for a future PS5 Let's Play. So, all of that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, let me know your thoughts down below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.